Welcome to Nerds with Dice, where we have sometimes technical difficulties. In the meantime, I'm going to vamp. No, we still can't hear you, Mike. Goodbye. Be right back.
All right, after a brief technical mishap, the technological gremlins having it out for us already tonight. Hello, one and all, and welcome to Nerds with Dice. We also have merch. You can find those links in the chat or by going to NerdsWDice on Twitter. I'm Michael. I'm the GM for tonight, and I'm also one of the writers for the game that we are going to be playing tonight called Crucible of Aether. And I'm also joined by my lovely players, Julie, Emma, Terfindial, and Winter. Say hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Yep. Glad we're on the same page there.
Yep. Big hello, intrepid heroes energy going on already tonight. All right. So this is a one shot of a new game that we are in the process of writing and testing. And it is called, as I mentioned before, Crucible of Aether. It is a skills-based TTRPG where you forge your character, improving them through the skills that you use as you journey through what we're calling the mystic industrial world of the game, set in the Empire of Odeos. The four players here are going to be playing some pre-made characters that we've got available throughout our playtesting process. We also have more playtesting materials on our Discord server. You can also find some of the wonderful art that has been done by our artists on our various social media pages. We are going to get started in a moment here. Just as a quick introduction to how this system works, there are a lot of different skills in the game and a lot of different ways that players can approach the problems that they face as they go through the world. And as they use those skills, they gain experience in them and they might level up. They might increase them. They might also unlock different abilities through the choices that they make. For instance, steal enough things and you might get the thief abilities. And we are going to get started here. All four of you stand on a wooden walkway suspended above a knotted mass of metal, spun into tendrils, veins, and great cords that layer and wrap and weft around and over one another. The metal strands kaleidoscope into different hues, from the dull red of dried blood to the sheen of new forged silver. Those strands are living metal, created by the ancient civilization known as the Docteel. Living metal made up every inch of Docteel technology, their devices, and their long-abandoned cities now known as the Hollows. Living metal covers every inch of the landscape around you, as far as the eye can see, or at least as far as you can see, through the smog and between the crowds, the factories, and tenement buildings of the city. For the walkway you stand on is in the middle of Queen's Court, the very political and economic center of the Empire of Odeos. It's a sprawling metropolis known by many names: New Gradar, the Iron Expanse, the Spiderweb City. The city was built more than 2 centuries ago atop the largest Dactyli hollow in the known world, stretching for miles in every direction. Queen's Court itself is also the largest city in the known world, with everyone, from the wealthiest noble families to the poverty stricken who toil in the factories, forging a life in a city jerry rigged over ancient ruins. No one has mastered the secrets of the Dactyl. People cannot even destroy these living metal structures. Instead, they build over and through and around. Wooden boardwalks thread through the city instead of roads. Houses cling to the few patches of bare rock or perch precariously over a metal landscape that seems, at times, to breathe. People only went to all that trouble for access to the most valuable of Dactyli artifacts, source cogs that spin endlessly and now power the vast clockwork factories of Empire. Hundreds of factories powered by source cogs dot this capital city, which is also the seat of power for the Ministry of Macrons, those half-machine engineers who keep access to Dactyli technology in an iron grip. Amidst all this, you've received an invitation to an exclusive soiree held at the house of the reclusive Haywood family in an old money neighborhood of the city. The scrap of parchment containing this invite came by courier, or from a friend who just couldn't find the time, or wrapping a nice piece of fried fish. No matter what, these invitations seemed to be everywhere, and no one much cared. In fact, no one has given the thought in fact, no one has given much thought to the Haywood house in some years. After all, Queen's Court is a city of constant change, and the Haywoods have fallen out of fashion these days. But the piece of parchment piqued your curiosity nonetheless. Let's start by seeing what you discovered about this note and what piqued your curiosity about it. Emma, I'm going to start with you, shaking things up a little bit. Why don't you go ahead and introduce your character and talk a little bit about what you think might have interested your character about this little invitation.
Absolutely. Sheridan, a they them, a individual who is very distinctly in the business of knowing, not necessarily always doing or acting, but knowing, received this invitation amidst a host of other papers that they were examining probably over the past week or several days. If anybody had been around to see them, they would have watched this figure definitely on the taller side, distinctly just a couple inches past what most people conceive of as, oh, that's a tall height, abnormally tall, sorting through papers at their desk, dividing them very neatly and calmly into interesting and not interesting, and then paring down the interesting papers to particularly interesting, especially interesting, with complete methodical care. And amongst the few that they selected were this invitation, because it is so omnipresent and so constant. And they think that the things that are omnipresent and constant should be perhaps the most closely examined. Those are where it's easiest to hide. They are standing carefully, just scanning the area without moving a muscle otherwise. Just their eyes go back and forth and back and forth. And you can't see a lot about this figure at all, wrapped in just a cloak, possibly a coat. It's a little hard to tell, so that all that is fully visible is two eyes, one of which glows bright gold, no pupil, and one of which glows bright blue, also no pupil.
That's wonderful. And as you're looking out in the crowd here, what is your character? What is Sheridan thinking, and what is it that they want to know more about this note and what's going to happen at this party?
Sheridan is split focus is immediately looking out at the crowd, trying to see who is moving against it, who is moving in an odd direction, and what in this movement catches their eye. And while they just idly scan for abnormal movement, in terms of the house, they're questioning again and again without something to grab onto at the moment, but they'll get there, of why is this omnipresent? Why are these invitations warranting little regard from people? That's so strange as to be abnormal. Everything warrants regard from someone, even if it's a frequently distributed invitation. People should care, but these seem to be everywhere and nobody's really remarked on them. Why is that? Why are they able to slip so distinctly under the radar? Why?
Yeah, this is going to be our first skill check. Skill checks are the central mechanic to COA, and I'm going to call this an etiquette check. An etiquette check being knowledge and ability to fit into or move in high society. This is going to be an etiquette check plus 30, and for taking the extra time to process and sort of take a very soft eyes approach to this, you're going to get what's called a small bonus. It's going to be a plus 10 bonus. This is the central mechanic in Crucible of Aether. You're going to add that number to the skills total on the left side of your character sheet to get your target. Then you're going to roll a D100 and hope you roll under it. So you're going to take your etiquette number, add 40 to it, and hope you roll under it. And
Wonderful.
Let me know the result.
Absolutely. My etiquette is a 41, so that will be rolling under an 81.
And fingers crossed.
Is a 72.
A success. All right. Go ahead and mark down 3 XP in etiquette. From just sort of taking a step back and listening to rumors and things like that, you've heard that the Haywood family is old money, that they own a large number of factories in the lower neighborhoods of the city where you are now. But they've made some strange decisions in the last few years that have sort of gotten them out of popularity. There's been all sorts of rumors about the air quotes oddball scion of the family, one Edith Haywood, and she's got a strange sense of humor. And some have even called it callous, which is a rare occurrence among the imperial gentry for them to actually consider someone callous. It's very much people don't want to be involved with the family, is the impression that you've gotten. And as you are sort of taking this moment, taking in this information, as you're watching the crowd, I think one person sort of stands out to you, and that's going to be Jilly. As you're moving through the crowd here, why don't you go ahead and describe your character?
Okay. I am playing Willa. And I am from the cult of Lupin. Or Lupin. Are we calling it Lupin? Lupin.
I believe Lupin.
Lupin. Okay, that makes sense to me. And so I am dressed fairly simply. I just have kind of a tunic / toga thing that I'm wearing, with kind of it looks like a lot of natural fibers. The vibes are very like, oh, you made that yourself. And I definitely look like I am assessing everybody nearby. I have, I think, probably a salve in my hand, because Willa is a healer. Or a healer in training, I should say, probably at this stage. but there aren't really any trappings of wealth or society so much on her. She is carrying a pack that looks kind of stuffed to the brim with things, but there's no real sign of gold or jewelry or metal of any particular description. Um, and her pronouns are she, they, and I think she believes that if she receives an invitation, it is for a reason. So there is, whether she herself knows what the reason is, she has a intrinsic belief that she is being led somewhere for some purpose. And so she kind of doesn't know why, but it doesn't seem to bother her all that much. Sort of really YOLO, if I'm honest.
Sheridan, you come on Willa, Willa or Willa?
Willa, I
Willa.
mean, yes.
Okay, there we go. You come upon Willa here in the crowd, and sort of, I'm going to say, actually see the invitation in their hands.
Excellent. I think it is not hard to catch, but Willa, if you're looking at the invitation, you will, like, at some point directly in the eye line of that, see just this very tall figure fully in a cloak that is standing like literally across the street, just staring directly at you unblinkingly. A little terrifyingly.
Wonderful. Willa will make direct eye contact and smile and nod.
Now I walk over. Greetings. May I see your paper?
Certainly, it is only recently come into my possession, but as the universe says, sharing is caring.
I quite like that. Does it look, is it the exact same invitation as the one that I've received?
Yes. One of them may be a little bit worse for wear than the other, but they have the same printing, the same paper, pretty much identical.
Sheridan looks at it, turns it several ways, holds it up to the light, and then hands it back to you. Interesting. This is the same as mine. Identical.
Perhaps they ordered them in bulk.
That would make quite a lot of sense. It would save on the general factory costs. Are you intending to go?
I have been invited somewhere. I mean, I am available, so it would be impolite for me to refuse.
What a delightful philosophy. I suppose I will see you there then.
If you also intend to be there, then I suspect we will get along splendidly.
Sheridan pulls out a slightly worse for wear invitation that has been put into a little leather sleeve for safekeeping and shows it to you.
Oh, is that a paper cut?
I'm sorry?
On your I couldn't help but notice you. Never mind. I'm just somewhat attuned to it.
No. Do you are you familiar with healing at all?
I'm actually learning right now. I have a little gift in the way of healing, but not so much as some who have been studying it for far longer than I.
In that case, this does indeed appear to be a paper cut. Might I ask for your assistance?
I don't know. Can I actually do anything about that? Let's take a look. All right.
I'm going to say that this is going to be another skill check here. This is going to be to diagnose whether there's anything beyond the superficial wrong. And
if it's poisoned and I discover it, you're going to be so impressed.
So this is going to be a medical check. I'm going to call this plus 20. So you're and you are also going to get a small +10 bonus because you've had some time. This is not in a rush to examine this, so this is going to be +30. The +20 is what determines how much XP that you get, and then the extra +10 is our mechanic of finessing the GM. So if you come up with a creative way to solve some sort of problem, you might get a bonus.
I've created this wound in my mind, so I suspect that I also have the power to take it away because it is of my own invention. So,
yeah, so this is going to be a +30 medicine check.
Okay, and I add that to my score in that, or my total.
Yes, you go to your medicine skill, your medical skill on the character sheet, you add +30 to that, and then you want to roll below that final sum total.
Okay, well, we'll see. Yes, that's good. That's a 42, which is below 68, which is what I needed to roll.
Awesome. So that is 4 XP in the medical skill. Yeah. Go ahead and add that to your medical skill on your character sheet. And everybody, as you are getting XP in these skills, if the XP that you have ever matches the rank that you have in the skill, you can go ahead and roll to rank it up and increase the skill as we are playing.
Winning.
Yes.
What you're
so
telling
you find
me
that
is
this
that
is
I'm winning.
yes. So you find that this is a little superficial paper cut, just about right here, that was on the invite. You can, put a little bit of pressure on there, or have Sheridan put a little bit of pressure, and it'll close up pretty quick.
You'll be happy to know that it is not poisoned.
A delightful outcome. Thank you very much for your help. I will be nearby. I wish to continue watching the crowd. And Sheridan gives a very slight bow and starts walking in the nearby direction.
Yeah. I'm going to say, Sheridan, you start making your way sort of up the hill, as it were, to the posher part of town. And as you're going there, Willa, you actually see somebody else, a rather distinctive character, Terfindiel. Your character starts heading towards the posher part of town. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell everybody what you look like?
So Venlith is Dan's spawn. She is kind of leery of everybody, as most of her friends and family have either become experiments for others or kind of outcasts and looked down upon a little bit almost. So she's kind of leery. She's wearing mostly earth tones as she attempts to hide within the shadows, clearly doing a bad job as she's being seen by all these people. She's still learning her skills as far as being a part of a recruit for the Ashen recruit. So she's still learning her skills and trying to kind of find her place in the world. And what really intrigued her about this letter was that not only does this seem to be the first that she has heard of this family, not heard of the family, but like any big kind of gathering. But maybe she will also kind of find answers on why some of her clan members and family members have gone missing, so to speak. So.
All right. So you are, as you were getting ready for this party, you were looking for information about, missing people, people who were mistreated, things like that.
Yeah.
I'm going to call that a streetwise check to sort of ask around town to get the scuttlebutt. And that is going to be a +30 check. If you want to talk about any creative ways you might approach that, you might get a bonus. But that I'm going to leave up to you.
I don't have anything. I have nothing. I was gonna have her be like the baker of the town, but no. It's just a
Okay.
D100.
Yeah, just a D100.
Okay,
just take your
so-
streetwise check and add 30 to it. And this is to sort of simulate you taking some time to ask around town and get rumors of what's up with this family and whether they might be able to connect the dots for you.
Okay, so take my total and add 30, and then it's got to be higher than that?
Got to be lower than that. So you want the
Lower,
number to be
okay.
as high as possible for your highest chances of success.
Okay, so 64. Why am I going that low? Right? Right, so add my 34 plus 30.
Yep. So that would be then 64, and you want to roll to beat 64.
And it's a D100. 54.
All right, that is a success. Go ahead and mark down 3 XP in Streetwise. What you find is that the Haywood family never really took an active hand in some of the nasty conditions in their factories. They just sort of are as nasty as the other factories around town. But you have heard some rumors that the last heir of the family, Edith Haywood, has a bit of a cruel reputation. Things like having workers compete for extra pay for the honor of serving as a factory night watchman, only to pay another worker to jump out of the shadows dressed as a monster of the awakening, a monster that can haunt the city scape that you live in. And some people have gotten hurt pretty badly in some of her pranks. And obviously the people who are the victims of them don't think of them as pranks so much.
Okay.
And
yeah.
You haven't heard that people have gone missing in particular at her factories, more so than any others. And it seems you've got a little bit of a vantage point on the people who are heading up to this posh but not quite populated neighborhood. Do you want to approach anybody else, or are you just trying to stick to the shadows here?
I'm just going to stick to the shadows for the time being.
Okay.
And try to stay out of the way and kind of still being leery about the whole situation and wondering again why now, why all of a sudden is this big gathering and such going on here when it hasn't been.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to say this is going to be a stealth check for you. This is going to be a stealth check plus 20. If you want to talk about any specific way you want to try and hide in the crowd, that might get you a bonus.
So she's kind of going, not really like in between. She's just like, she'll walk up to someone randomly or I'm heading up to this town and just be like, oh, what a nice little, what's your child's name? That's so great. You brought some flowers. Where'd you find your flower? Just kind of trying to mingle with everyone and make it seem like she belongs there.
Blend into the crowd more so than disappear in it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's absolutely worth a plus 10 bonus here. So go ahead and roll a stealth check plus 30.
Okay. I have to count. Math.
Yeah.
I'm really bad at this. 2.
Wait, you rolled a 2?
Yeah.
Oh, that is a massive, massive success. That is 4 XP in stealth, and you are schmoozing your way through this crowd that it's just going from little conversation to little conversation, that even if somebody was trying to tail you, they would have no idea that you are heading up to this posh, exclusive neighborhood. And it is a little bit of a hike up to the exclusive Gray Hills neighborhood of Queen's Court, which was once valued for its view of the Tower of Docteel, the ancient structure that now houses the center of imperial power. The neighborhood has gone out of fashion somewhat in recent years, but it is still exclusive. You're still, as you make your way up there, you're still walking on a boardwalk in Queen's Court, built over this flowing landscape of living metal, but something's different. The air clears. You're no longer choked by the low-lying smog of the city, and the road takes you up a steep ridge, beholding a sweeping view of the industrial district you were just in, 100 meters below you. Massive manor houses dot the road here, sporting greenhouses, outbuildings, and other signs of extravagant wealth. And this is a neighborhood that is a little bit more at home to our fourth character here. Winter, why don't you go ahead and introduce your character as you walk up the boardwalk here in the nicer neighborhood of the city, as it were.
Sasa is finally glad to get out of the lower neighborhood. And as you said, she is much more at ease being a squire of the Black River Warriors, the nobility of... I actually forget where she's from, but the nobility of the region that she is from.
Yeah.
And she's not wearing her typical uniform. She does have a very fine, very obviously high quality chainmail suit of armor on that is peeking out from underneath a well pressed, well folded button shirt and trousers, high knee length boots. On her back is a large black iron sword. And as she walks, her right leg made of metal, her left arm made of the same metal, holding a ornate pipe that she is smoking as she walks through the city. Her eyes just looking back and forth around the people, but mostly looking at the houses, enjoying the scenery.
Okay. As Sasha, one of the Black River Warriors, the warrior nobility of the nation of Meisenland, as you're walking through the neighborhood here, what piqued your interest about this party? What made you go from, oh, I got an invitation to, oh, I guess I'll go?
Well, the notice to go actually came down the pipe from the knight that I am a squire to. Someone above him, much higher up, got the invitation, and so kicked the buck down the ladder until it finally landed on me, and I was told, "You're going to go to this party because I don't want to. Consider it part of your training, but also, if you do so, consider it part of your leave. You haven't been to this city ever. It should be a nice time." And so she is taking this as kind of a vacation, as her training is extremely rigorous. She has not slept very well through all of the sparring and physical training she's been put through the past couple years. So this is the first time she's really gotten to relax and just kind of enjoy herself, and she's going to do that at a nice aristocratic party where absolutely nothing will go wrong, shortly.
Of course. And is there anything that piques Sasha's interest as you're strolling up to the manor here?
It's mostly keeping an eye to see if there are any other obvious party goers. Giving nice little polite nods to anyone that looks as though they are nobility or higher class, kind of politely but more curtly nodding to those who don't look the part. Yeah,
I'm going to say, and this is going to be your call, This is going to be either perception or etiquette. To be either, are you looking for what's going on, or are you trying to sort of schmooze with people as you're getting through the neighborhood to see what's happening? Either of those is going to be plus 30 with a plus 10 bonus.
Okay. No, she's definitely more keeping an eye out. Like she's not putting on airs with her schmoozing. It's more just, oh, it's a person. Hello, it's a person. You know, not really trying to be anything besides just keeping an eye out on the situation.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll that. It's going to be net plus 40 on perception.
Okay. So my stat, that's a plus 40, so 72 total. I rolled a 46 for success.
Awesome. That is a success. Put down 3 XP in perception. And that was a significant success. What you find as you get close to the manor is there seems to be a decent-sized group of high-class people who are going into the house directly next to the one that you know the party is at. Like they're directly next to the one that's on the invitation. And as you see that little tidbit, I'm going to ask the rest of the group here, starting with Sheridan. How do you find yourself getting to this posh neighborhood, this exclusive neighborhood, as you see, Winter sort of almost out front of the house?
To get into this neighborhood, is it more of are there any active sort of bars or gate situation, or is it more of a it's clear who does and doesn't belong?
Yeah, it's more of it's clear who does and doesn't belong, and if you don't belong, then the Royal Guard or private guard of some kind is going to ask forcefully for you to explain yourself.
Mm-hmm. I think off of that, Sheridan, who is somewhat conspicuous enough, is going to try to essentially stick to the shadows and move, just take the circuitous route around to this house. It might take a bit longer, but is not trying to pass through and kind of is not trying to blend in, but rather blend backwards.
Yeah. Trying to sort of be unseen as you move through this city. I'm going to say that is a plus 20 check with a plus 10 bonus in stealth.
Right. That is a 34 to beat a 71.
Awesome. Wonderful. That is 4 XP in stealth. And also that is a significant number of over successes. That is another mechanic in COA that as you succeed at a skill check, if you have a significant, basically if you beat it by a lot, measured in numbers of tens, you might get something extra from that check. I'm going to say on that stealth check, you took a circuitous route. You actually came into the neighborhood from the other direction, just because the sight lines worked out and it was easier to go from alley to alley. And you see that there's, in fact, large groups of well-dressed people going into both neighboring houses to the one that you've been invited to. And as you come up, you see a rather large Black River warrior in armor wandering towards the front door. And in that moment, I'm going to say, Willa, how do you move through the city to get to this party?
I forgot that's me today. Okay. I mean, I would assume that healers are called everywhere, right? Like there is a certain...
everybody needs, some help not dying every now and again.
Right. So I think, not to undercomplicate this, but I feel like Willa just walks in and goes there, and if people stop her, she'll deal with that as it comes. Because I think she's fairly used to her services being at least somewhat respected, if not adored.
Yeah, you're a member of the clergy. It might not be the clergy that's popular in this part of the world. But...
I mean, even rich people, rich people can't be choosy sometimes, right? Like,
and sometimes they're very choosy, and that can be helpful. So
it's true.
so you make your way through the city, and also Venleth, how do you decide? I'm going to say, your stealth check earlier was good enough that you were able to schmooze your way up to the front door if you would like.
Sure. So outside of just kind of blending in and I don't really want to say fakely chatting to the ongoers, but if she, her plan is if people say anything or if a guard stops her, to kind of use a bit of her own background in being a Ashen recruit, and going to mention her cell commander and how he has sent her kind of on a mission as a training sort of deal, to look into any kind of suspicious ongoings, especially since this is such a large gathering. You never know. Someone is bound to mess something up somewhere.
Absolutely. Just keeping a very watchful eye out. And as you and Sheridan are coming up, you see Sasha and Willa just sort of standing out in the open on the boardwalk as these other crowds are sort of filing into the other houses.
Is there anything, out of curiosity, uniform about... Is there any sort of distinction between the two crowds? Like, does it look like two other separate parties in addition to this third one?
Go ahead and roll me. I'm going to call this an investigation check, and this is going to be plus 20.
Wonderful. I believe I also have a general bonus to investigation checks. Does that stack with this?
Yep, that absolutely stacks. So if you have something listed as a general bonus, it always applies to that skill. Something that has a specific bonus attached to it, it might apply with certain conditions.
Does this involve either deducing or detecting lies?
I'm going to call this, yes, this would involve deducing.
Wonderful. All right. So that is doing quick math. Right. That is an 81 to beat an 86, just barely.
Hey,
Nice.
Success is a success. That is 4 XP in investigation. And what you see is a couple of incongruous details. First, you see somebody is handing out opera glasses to the other members of their group as they go up to the house neighboring the one you've been invited to. And the second is they occasionally nudge each other, point at the house you've been invited to, and chuckle under their breath or talk about something else. So those are the two details that you notice on that check of these crowds that's going into the house in front of you. But yeah, you also see Willa and the person you've already met, along with the Black River Warrior, just sort of making their way towards the house.
As other people approach, one of whom Sheridan has met before, they, without looking over their shoulder, they're kind of kneeling halfway down, just observing to both sides of the house, and will call back, "Are you also attending this specific event, friends who are behind me?"
Talking about sort of, are you trying to sort of pretend that you're like part of the crowd and just sort of unintentionally schmooze it out of them?
No, I think that if I think it's honestly more specifically noting that, say, a Black River Warrior is heading this direction and not breaking off to go to either of the other houses. I'm intrigued. I want to know who is behind me or in
Oh, are
front
you
of me.
talking to Sasha and Willa?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, I thought you were talking to the people who were going to the other matter. Yeah, that's on your plate.
I think Willa will just say, yes, we met earlier.
Oh, hello.
Hello. I feel like we should do like the same hat gesture. Just the vibes. No. Same hat.
Oh, was that
It's the correct vibes. Yeah.
was that referring to me? Is that statements you just made?
Yes.
Ah. Hello.
Greetings.
I am going to Izzy's house in front of us. Not that one. Or that one.
Those seem to be more popular by far.
I wonder if I could get into that one. That does seem like a more happening place to go to. Would you like to join me?
In trying?
Yes,
Sure.
the more the merrier. I am new to this city. I could use some new friends.
You know, I once read a philosophical text that said, do or do not. There is no try.
And as
You can certainly try to do things. You can. I don't understand. But then again, I was never one much for philosophy.
and as Sasha's voice carries a little bit in this conversation, Vanleth, you sort of see this little gathering on the boardwalk here, as you've, I guess, come to the edge of where you can kind of schmooze to get closer to the building.
I think she's gonna kind of listen in and now seeing, instead of like large groups of people breaking off into these different houses, now she sees this like little smaller group of people that's like unsure of where they want to go and where they fit. And that's her in life in general. So now she's going to be like, well, do they know more about everything in this town and the whereabouts of what's going on and the differences between the houses? So she's going to kind of maybe like nonchalantly, like awkwardly walk kind of around them in a odd circle and hope that they don't notice.
I'm going to say this is going to be a stealth check here. This is going to be what we refer to as an opposed check. Its difficulty is determined by the skill ranks of the other people involved. I believe that the lowest or the highest perception here is going to be our private investigator. Your perception I have at 41, which means this is going to be a minus 10 stealth check. Or sorry, plus 10 stealth check.
To myself?
Yes. Okay. Plus 10 stealth check to get around without anybody spotting you.
I'm close. I just want to say for the record, I'm close, but only when I smell things.
Fair enough.
So plus 10, so that puts a 44 to a 54.
Yep. Sorry?
59.
9 is a success.
59. 50.
Oh, 59.
Oh, 59.
Close, but not quite. You still do, though, get 1 XP in stealth. Even on a failure, you always get 1 XP. But there's a... even though it's a nice neighborhood, people don't always maintain public infrastructure, and one of the boards squeaks as you're trying to get around, and Sheridan, you clock that.
Sheridan leans out into the sightlines slightly, just... And you also, friend? In the shadows?
She's gonna kind of look at you like shocked, like, "Oh, you saw me."
Only just. That was very skillful.
She's gonna like she's for like as she steps on this board, so she's like frozen like with one step in front of her, 1 foot in front of her, 1 foot behind her, just kind of like trying not to make eye contact, so just like thinking, do I run now? What am I supposed to do now?
Is there some kind of assassin in our midst? Have
What?
at ye, is what I would say if I wasn't off duty. But it's my day off, so I do not care. Come, friend, join us.
She just kind of slowly starts to walk over to the rest of them, kind of defeated, like, oh man, when I get back, I'm gonna hear this. Like, I'm gonna hear it because I was caught, kind of deal. So, like total, like, you know how like you yell at your dog because the dog like did something bad inside, and then the tail goes down, and the face goes down, and the ears go down, and she like wanders over, like, and she like looks up, like looks at you with like her big brown eyes, like, hi.
Why do you look so down? It is a party, is it not?
Sure. So where are you guys off to? I mean, other than the party, obviously. Like, why are you confused on what, like, are we deciding on which house we want to go to? Because I'm down for whatever.
Oh, I've been invited to this party, so I will be attending the one I was invited to.
I mean, I got a little sheet of paper that says I should probably go here. And she, like, points to the house. But, I mean,
I have strong suspicion that all three of these events may be more connected than they appear.
Normally, I would try to go to the nicer venue. But if we are decided to go to the one we were invited to, then I subjoin you. Why, you ask? I have nothing else better to do. Ha ha!
That's the spirit. And I will. Is there like a? I guess I will just knock because that's.
Yeah. So these houses are set apart from each other a little bit. This is not like LA manor houses. Think like they are kind of estates in and of themselves, except for the fact that the yard is just more of this living metal landscape. And you go down a little bit and stand in front of Haywood House. It's an older mansion in the red-fired brick style that was most popular when the city was first built. There's an addition to your left with a large kitchen, and then there's a small greenhouse on the right. And as you're walking up, on either side of the walkway leading up to the door, and really spread around everywhere, are statues, bird baths, gargoyles. They're just everywhere without real rhyme or reason to their placement. But before you get too close and really can't take the whole thing in, you notice something quite striking about this house. The back half actually hangs off over the cliff, overlooking this sweeping industrial neighborhood. And there's a small figure in sort of mismatched fine clothing already knocking on the door in front of you. What would you like to do?
I suppose I'll introduce myself to the person knocking at the door. Hello, are you also attending the party?
Oh, yes. Hi. Hello. This small figure, sort of smaller than you realized at first because they've got sort of several layers of this mismatched fine clothing. He says, yes, hello. I was just knocking, but no one has answered the door yet. Are you also attending this party?
It would seem so. Is it possible that they have left the door open to allow us to enter?
I actually have not tried that. That seems
People never do.
rude.
Well, yes, but we were invited. And here Willow holds up a piece of paper.
Ah, yes, yeah, I was invited too, see? And he holds it up, just very, almost like a shield, to say, yes, I was invited. I'm allowed to be here.
Oh, I was just verifying so you knew that we were supposed to be here. I wasn't in any way questioning you that you were supposed to be here.
Oh,
Um But if no one is answering the door, then perhaps something has gone awry inside. Perhaps there is some sort of cooking emergency, or perhaps someone has forgotten the time and the time got away from them. Or perhaps, and I think she goes on like this and comes up with probably 10 more plausible scenarios of
and
varying plausibility.
yeah, and this guy is just nodding. Yeah, yes. Oh, absolutely. And what would the rest of you like to do as Willa is going through increasingly plausible or implausible reasons why no one's answering the door?
You do make a good point that it might be some form of emergency. In that case, it is my duty to assist whenever there is trouble. And Shasta will just open the door.
All right. This door is in fact locked, but if you want to try and bust through it, that would be an athletics check. It's going to be a little bit more difficult. It's an older door, but it is in fact still a good one. So this is going to be an athletics check plus 10 to try and bust it open.
Just to clarify, Shasta is not like Shasta doesn't like try the door, sees it's locked, and then try to force it open. She takes doorknob, twists, and opens, and if it happens to break the lock, so be it. Like
absolutely, that's going to get you that description. Absolutely, you're getting a plus 10 bonus for that. So this is going to be a net plus 20 athletics check.
Excellent. 60.
Wait, hang on. Do I help with that? I mean, would we describe this door as a melee combatant?
You know what? If you want to say that you are in combat with this door, that you are going to say this door is your enemy, I am going to allow that as well.
The true tradition of all tabletop role-playing games.
Doors are the enemy.
So, as it is also my enemy, and I too feel rage towards this door. We're really bending the definition of combat here, but all allies engaged with the same target as me receive +5 to all hit rates.
So this is going to be a plus 25
So
athletics check.
can I cheer them on and rally them and be like, "Yeah, guys, you got this. I believe in you."
I think that might be stretching this a little bit much.
Sheridan is going to watch with great interest whatever is happening. Does nothing, but wants to see it very badly.
Without all of the dubious definitions of combat and engagement, I succeeded without that additional bonus. So we're
all right.
It's nice that you had it anyway.
Established. Yes.
I got a 57 and the target number was 68. So I don't know how the degrees work on that.
Yeah. So that would be over success if it were relevant here. It is not. Over successes are every 10 below the number. Over failures are every 10 above. So that is going to be 5 XP in athletics as you fully the doorknob comes loose in the housing as you're twisting it. So you feel it give and then it just is completely loose in your hand and just sort of spins around as you open this door. And you open it up and see a dimly lit hallway in front of you. And it appears as though every other oil lamp in this hallway has been removed. And they have left sort of just enough that you can sort of see down to the end of the hallway. And it doesn't appear as though there's anyone in it right now. But it goes off into the dark and the shadows.
What a dimly lit room for a party. Is this how these things go in this city?
Perhaps the emergency was lighting based.
Yes, perhaps there is. Do I see like anything that would be lit if I look around? Like, are there torches that aren't lit, or is it?
Yeah. So it's there is lighting here in the hallway, and it is like it's just oil lamps, and just half of them have been removed, so you can see what's going on, but it looks as though they might have been removed for. You get the impression from the rest of the maintenance of the place that they might have been removed to be sold off.
Okay.
There's still light in there, though.
Hello, excuse me. We've come for. Well, we were invited. Hello.
And as you call down, you see someone down at the end of the hallway just sort of poke their head out and grumble to themselves, and then turn the corner, and you see this tall, older Earl Kragan sort of vulture person, bald head, liver spots, really darned up sort of butler uniform with the full tails, is holding a tray of tea, grumbles to himself, and walks up and says, I thought I left that door locked. Are you here for the party?
Yes, we are.
Yes, and I think Willa offers a hand, which is, now that you look at it, sort of more claw-like than perhaps the average. And says, we received invitations.
Ah, yes. Some of the other guests are already here. You'll forgive me, we are a little short-handed on staff at the moment. Come with me, I'm just bringing the tea. All of you, come. And he gestures for you to follow him further into the house. What would you like to do?
As go ahead.
I was going to say, I followed this person into the house because I have no reason to mistrust this person. And therefore, they definitely mean me no harm.
Serve tea, like, yeah, I'm just gonna follow.
As we walk in, the party goer that we just met outside gets a tap on the shoulder from Sheridan, who goes, I do not believe you gave your name. I may address you as...
Oh, yeah, I'm and there's a little bit of pause, and he says, Rodolfo Elmwood Palmar Wilhelm the Sixth. Yes.
Wonderful. Are you excited currently, or nervous, or both?
Whatever do you mean? I'm just going to a party. I do this all the time.
Do I believe that statement in the way that it is said?
Yeah. This would be investigate check to detect a lie, and this is going to be a plus 10 check.
Wonderful.
And you, I believe, get some bonuses to detect a lie.
Yes. Another test. This investigation. Why did I suddenly lose where that was? Investigation. It was right on. Sorry, I'm having trouble finding.
It's in the mental skills.
There we go. Thank you so much. Yes.
Yep.
So, right. Ooh, I believe that is a failure. That's a 70 against a 62.
Oh, yes, that is a failure. 1 XP in investigation. Something's a little bit off about what he's saying, but you can't quite clock it. And you have just met him, so you don't really have a baseline. He could just be just sort of on all the time. So yeah, you don't necessarily clock anything in particular. What is everybody else doing as Sheridan has that little exchange as you're coming into the hallway here?
You better join me soon, or else the tea will be gone. Ha ha! Calls Sasa towards those staying in the doorway.
I think Venlith would kind of... This definitely doesn't look good to her. She is kind of getting a bit struck with a bit of PTSD. And kind of going to stay back with Sheridan and also kind of be very leery about the guy at the door, especially because Wilhelm, isn't that technically the name of the house, the family that owns this house? Like, why was he locked out? Right? Am I wrong?
Haywood is the
Haywood.
name
Okay.
of the family that owns the house. Yeah.
Okay.
No, his very long name was. It definitely took him a moment to recall it.
Shared.
So good.
No, you go.
I was just gonna. She's kind of hanging back, kind of hanging toward the shadows. Now, kind of very sketched out about this new person was knocking on the door, and is very twitchy. So, yeah.
Sheridan thinks that this also looks extremely suspicious and wants to walk directly into it because of that. So they will hold the door for Rodolfo, I believe, and anyone else that wishes to enter following before entering themselves.
All right. And does Venlith, you mentioned that you wanted to sort of hang back, but does everybody else want to follow?
Willa is following because this nice person just invited her to tea.
All right. So all of you follow into the sort of shadowy house. And this is a wide sort of grand entryway. Off to one side, you can see that there's an open door that looks like a coat room. The hallway that you're in is lit by just a few oil lamps. And now that you're inside and your eyes adjust a little bit, you see that this house has been built to highlight a very strange central architectural feature. There's this vast twisting column of living metal that runs through the center of the structure, and you can see that it is a central piece of the house. The hallway that you're in reaches a T intersection at this column, and the column runs from floor to ceiling on the first floor, and it seems to go up. And you can see that the floor joists and the roof for the second floor are sort of leveraged into this column. And he leads you towards the column, and then he goes to the left and goes to another door and sort of elbows it open with his tray of tea and gestures for you to enter. What would you all like to do?
Sasa enters.
All right. What would everybody else like to do?
I mean, I've been invited to tea, so I'm going to go inside and look at this strange thing.
Sheridan does, however, much of a circuit of the column that they can, looking at it before going anywhere else. This is the most interesting thing immediately.
Yeah. And before we do a check on that, Venleth, what would you like to do?
Is there, so as we're walking down like the first center hallway, is there like veered off rooms, or is it just this centered hallway? Or just this hallway kind of deal?
The hallway is meant to have this vision of the column as you go in, and then it's a T, and there are two hallways going to either side, and it seems like there's a bunch of doors off of this hallway, and you can see one to the right has a staircase. To the left is where the butler is, and it appears he's directing everybody. Sheridan, on taking a closer look at the column, this is going to be kind of your call how you want to approach this. Are you just sort of taking in what details you can see, which would be a little bit more of a perception check? You might get different information if you went for like a science check, sort of leaning on what knowledge you have of these kind of structures, or metalworking check about the structure itself. Sort of your call here, what kind of information you would like to try and get.
I think I'm primarily looking at it. I think I'm primarily trying to note just trying to get a sense of it as an architectural feature. This is clearly the centerpiece, so I want to understand as much as I can from looking what the thought was there, why this is clearly so important. So probably perception.
Yeah. So this is going to be perception, and I'm going to say this is going to it is going to be a little bit more difficult, not leaning on any sort of specialized knowledge here. This is going to be perception check plus 10.
Wonderful.
Can I help by sniffing?
You know what? I am going to say yes, if you want to roll this as well as you're going by, just taking a whiff of this thing.
I do also have, I believe, some advantage for perception checks involving scent. So would I be able
yes,
to?
You do. Yes, this could involve
Delightful.
scent. Yes.
Delightful. We can both take a sniff.
Sniff.
Sniffing the pole, just TTRPG things.
Plus 10. Okay.
Yes, so this is a plus 10 difficulty, and then you have all of your bonuses.
44 to beat a 62.
All right. Go ahead and mark down 5 XP in perception. First off, what you get is, now that you're a little bit closer to it, you can see that this is kind of basically a load-bearing portion of this house. There are floor joists that are like leveraged in between the strands of metal holding it up. And you feel that the floor, which has been sort of creaky and unsettling, or sort of creaky and moving under your feet in the way that an old house does, is much more solid right around this column. The thing that you get from your scent is that normally when people mess with these sorts of things in the city, they might break it and then it will, sort of scab over. This is called living metal for a reason, that even if it gets damaged in some way, it will heal over on itself. You don't smell any of that here. This column has been around for a long time. It seems as though the house was built around it in some fashion. So it doesn't in any way smell like recent construction or recently moved around in a way that it would have damaged the metal and been obviously healed up recently. So in some fashion, this house was built around this column. And that's what you get as you are sort of taking a closer look at it as you go through towards the door that he is directing you to. And Venlith, did you want to do anything in particular?
Oh, this is where I'm trying to decide on going down that right hallway. Is it worth it or not?
Do it. It's a one shot.
YOLO!
Do I split the party? Yeah, she'll kind of like, and in staying back and hoping to get lost kind of within the shadows, she wants to know more about the house, and it doesn't seem, something seems not right. We walked in, we were invited to this party, we walked in, it was dark, like there's one hallway, there's this weird looking butler dude, there was this guy outside that was knocking on the door. So she just kind of wants to investigate more on the house. So she's gonna stick to the shadows and veer down that right hallway.
Yeah. I'm gonna say that this is a stealth check. He does have decent perception, so this is going to be a plus 10 check, but he is distracted by everything else, and the fact that you are at the back of the group of 6 people or 5 people is going to give you a little bit of a bonus here. So this is going to be a net plus 30 to try and break the line of sight and make it for the other hallway.
The fact that I am badly sniffing the thing probably helps in this regard.
So yeah, I'm factoring that into the plus 20 bonus that Venlith is getting here.
I just want to set a scene for us here.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
So it's perception, you said? Or no, yes. Stealth, correct?
Sorry, yes, stealth. It's stealth versus perception, and it's determined by his perception. So you are rolling a plus 30 stealth check.
plus 30.
That's
So
pretty good.
it's 74. Two. 82.
82. 1 XP in stealth as he leans his head over a little bit, and he is a big guy. He's taller even than Sasha, and he just sort of goes not even up on tiptoes, but sort of stretches the hunch out of his back and looks up and says, the party is this way, making eye contact with you and pointing towards the door that he's directed.
Right. I have no sense of direction. I'm sorry. I'm used to the smog and the air is just clean, and I don't. I get lightheaded sometimes. I'm sorry. And she's gonna like turn back around.
Yeah, like an oxygen high, basically.
Right.
Yeah. So he points towards this open door, and he is now going to pointedly stay until everybody is through to let you into this room up here. And as you all, he waits until you all go through, you see a massive ballroom. This is, it seems to be, it was a huge part of the house. It is, this game is in measured in metric terms, so it is like 10 meters across, 6 meters deep, and 2 sets of stairs run along the walls, descending to a wood paneled dance floor where there are a few couches and chairs set up around tables. There is a balcony on the top level where you are that runs along one side between the 2 sets of stairs, and then on the top side here, there's a little cutout where you can also see the column on this side, and it appears there's a little display of some kind on the column on this side, and there's a few guests in the ballroom here. What would you like to do as you sort of take this image in?
Is there anyone dancing on the dance floor?
No, there's not anyone dancing on the dance floor right now. They're just sort of sitting in these chairs talking to each other and going through what appears to be the first pot of tea that's been brought.
Well, tea is nice, friends. But does anyone have anything a little stronger, perhaps? It is a party, after all. She says this like loud enough that like everyone can hear in this area.
Yes.
She's not being subtle.
I think when you say that, Sasha, Willa will walk over and give the tea a big sniff, because Willa is very trusting but not unhinged. So I want to know if this tea is tea or not.
Yes. That would be, I'm going to call that a plus 20 perception check. And you would also get your bonus from that.
My sniff bonus.
Yes.
Okay.
As a Keanosin, one of the various origins in the game, you're a little bit canine, so you do get a little bit of a bonus to smell-based perception checks. So that's going to be plus 30.
I also have very pointed teeth.
Yes.
Okay, so I am rolling this. Okay. So that I rolled an 18 plus.
So you
yeah, that is a massive success.
Yeah, and then I plus. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You add the 30 to your stat, and that's the number you have to roll.
Right.
You don't roll any. You don't add anything to the die roll.
Yeah. So I'm winning, is what we're saying.
Yes. So go ahead and add 4 XP to your perception skill, and just yeah, you do all the math before the dice hit the table, and then you immediately know the numbers you need on the dice. 4 XP in perception. As you smell, it smells both cheap and old, but it does smell like tea.
So I'm reasonably sure that we're not being poisoned by a
Yeah,
tea.
you're reasonably sure that you're not being poisoned. They are cheaping out on the tea, but you are reasonably sure you're not being poisoned. It's like
Okay.
if somebody bought like Darjeeling like 5 years ago and they're serving it to you now.
Listen, there's tea that's been in my cupboard for an amount of time that I don't care to investigate. So I get it.
Busting out that Lipton. Let's go.
Yeah, the Lipton from 2001. Yeah.
Woo!
Last time I moved, I found a box of Joy Tea from when I worked at unnamed coffee company. And I stopped working there over 5 years ago. So
I think we've all gone through that. Yeah. So it is cheap old tea that he is bringing out on a nice serving platter for you all, as he gestures for you to join the party. And you see there's 2 guests already there, and they seem to be locked in conversation, or at the very least, one of them is speaking. The other is not doing a whole lot of speaking. And what would you like to do as you enter this rather small party?
The display that was mentioned up by the column, upon entering, after watching Willa sniffing at the column specifically as well, Sheridan does a little hat tip to her, having tried the same tactic, but will then strafe off to go and see what that display is.
Yeah.
Museum time.
Yes. So while everybody is getting into the party, Sheridan, you sort of amble over to that. This is going to be, are you still sort of just soft eyes looking, or are you trying to get specific information here?
Is it like a museum style display? It's right in front of the column of living metal, right?
Yeah.
Is it a plaque? Is it items, or whatever it is? I'm leaning in just very close to look at it. Investigate it,
so
read it.
There's a small wooden pedestal sort of that was built onto and sort of shaped around the living metal. Like you can see that the wood was cut out for the strands. And there is a glass case that seems to normally have been there that has been set aside. And there's a plaque that says the Haywood tiara. And there is a diamond encrusted gold tiara that is set into the column of living metal.
Oh.
What would you like to do?
And the glass has been removed in front of it?
Yes, it is pointedly removed and set to the side.
Immediate instinct is to reach out to touch it.
You reach out and touch it, and it does not move. It is firmly set in there.
Sheridan runs their fingers over it just several times, like examining the gems and the make and everything, and is just fascinated, and spends probably like a good 2 minutes just doing that before they finally step back. I do not understand this. Fascinating.
So what kind of information are you trying to get here?
I want to know why it's kept here normally and why the glass is gone. Which they don't necessarily have any way to get, but they're going to keep staring at it for a couple minutes, I think, until they're broken out of the trance of not knowing something, and will start making their way down towards the dance floor. But they keep looking back up again and again.
Yeah. We can roll for that now, or that might be a little bit of a bonus you get later as you get more information. Okay. So as the rest of you sort of set down onto the dance floor, what are you trying to get first? What are you trying to do as the butler sort of sets down the tray of tea and says, "The tea," and then does a little nod and goes to go back up the stairs?
As the butler is leaving, Sasha trying to get his attention. He's like, "Oh, my good man, certainly you have something a little bit more, fitting for a party. Alcohol.
Ah,
Do you have any of that?"
yes, I will see what vintages we have available.
It does not have to be vintage. I simply want something, enjoyable.
As you wish. And he turns to go, and the person who also is in armor and regalia finery, who has been doing all the talking, turns to you and says, my friend, this has been a little bit of a dry party so far. You might not have much luck here.
Well, nothing ventured, nothing gained, as they say. I was going to say, does Shasta recognize, like, the insignia or, like, make of the armor or anything? Like,
yeah, so you immediately clock this guy as a clan bearer. He is one of the nobility of the northern country of Skeldenheim. He's sort of a raven person, and sort of the people in this game, they are not human, but they're not entirely animal. Everybody's got a little bit of the animalistic characteristics. Here, there's a little bit of black plumage around his collar and on his collarbones, and then black eyes that don't have any pupils to them as he smiles to you and says, Jorgen Sandhead, pleasure to meet you. Yeah, that's what you clock immediately.
Shasta Einklein.
Wonderful, wonderful. And you said nothing ventured, nothing gained. Might I be able to interest you in a little bit of a business proposition?
Business. Yes.
Well, I've been warned against making deals under the influence of, a good party. There was once, I had an uncle. He bought a thing called a timeshare. I understand that it was a watch shared amongst many people.
Oh, no, this is nothing at all like anything like that. You actually own the shares in the family company. We've got ships and sailors in the Sea of Songs right now, catching pirates and smugglers, right? And the Empress is paying us to do this, and we get to keep their cargo too. So, you pay us a little bit now to get things going, and then we're all going to be rich. If you give me 100 pen today, and I give you this piece of paper, and in 2 months, it's worth 120 pen. Guaranteed. Little piece of paper right here is as good as penned in your pocket. Now, how many can I put you down for?
I am not a woman of business. I'm a woman of the sword, I'm afraid.
Oh, of course. And why would you want to trouble yourself with the finer details of everything we've got going on? I'm talking about a guaranteed thing here. You understand the sword and
I'm so sorry to interrupt. Are you acquainted with the inhabitants of this home?
Why, no, I can't say that I am. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting Miss the Lady Haywood myself. I only know her by reputation, and the clan never turns down a chance and an opportunity.
I can definitely sense that.
Lady Haywood has not made an appearance yet. How long have you been here? How long has the party been going?
Oh, just a little while. I was just making the acquaintance of my friend Elmine here. You two are countrymen, I believe. Talking to Sasha.
Sasha will look at Elmine and see if she can tell whether or not there's any association.
Yeah. I'm going to say this is going to be the last thing that we do before there's a little bit of a break. You see Elmine is She is recognizably Earl Kragan. She's from the country you are. She's got sort of the feathering around her neck. But she is also a Macron. One of the members of the machine, not quite cult. You wouldn't call them a cult in one of their hearings or the hearing range, but they are the people who control access to Doctili technology and come up with inventions in dreams that they distribute out to the world and control access to. And she's recognizably a Macron because of the mask that has replaced her face. It's solid metal to the cheeks with holes for the eyes that are narrow slits like an armor. And you see that the internal workings of her mouth have been replaced with gears, springs, and sprockets. And as she speaks, they move in all different directions and sort of approximate the normal sounds beneath the mesh that is the rest of her mask and goes down to her neck, where it joins and sort of in this unruly line makes normal flesh. And she nods her head to you and speaks in what your character has never heard, but what you recognize as something similar to autotune, and says, "Greetings, I am Elmine, the Demure." And that's where we are going to take a little bit of a break.
Alrighty.
And welcome back. We are coming back from this short break after the party met Elmine the Demure, the second guest of this soiree, with her Macron mask that has replaced almost her entire face. She's sitting there looking at you, Sasha, and you can tell only in the fact that her head is pointed in your direction. You cannot see eyes through the mask, and she's got sort of an oil-stained, pale yellow dress that has a tear at the shoulder, and sleeves that end just at the elbow, and they end at the elbow in the way that they're basically cut off sleeves that she has cut off to work, and her left arm has been replaced with these silvery threads of metal instead of veins, and her left hand has been replaced entirely by three different appendages. One is a clamp, the second is a small shiv, and the third is something like a jeweler's loop that she is and she's constantly using these appendages along with her other normal hand, working on something in her hands while she's looking at you and says, "This is a greetings. Hello, I am Elmine the Demure," as she's working with her hands and making eye contact with you, Sasha.
Sasa at this point completely is no longer paying attention to the Raven man trying to sell her blockchain or something, and just like puts on a smile and just strides toward Elmine and dips into a bow. It's like, Lady Elmine, a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
And continuing again to fiddle with something in her hands. Yes, it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance as well. Could you move? You are blocking my sight. And sort of like trying to get around you a little bit, as she is occasionally looking up towards the column.
Oh, my apologies. Of course. And Sasa will move to not block her line of sight, but still very clearly trying to be attentive.
Yes, and now like looking at the column. Yes, how may I be helpful? You are interrupting my work.
I apologize. If you wish to be left alone, then I will certainly give you the time that you'll need.
No, the director of my order says that I should be more social. And continuing to work on something in her hands, and occasionally looks down and looks at a part of it, and then looks back up to the column and looks down and then nods to herself as she's working on it, as though she's trying to reference something on the column.
If you wish to be social, I would love to hear what it is that you are working on. Perhaps on the dance floor. And Sasa extends a hand. Is there a way that I can use? So like command is like intimidate. Is there a way that you could spin that in like being forward and flirty as opposed to just being like subtle and flirty? Could that fall under command, or is that really not what the skill's for?
Aggressive is the wrong word, but maybe assertively flirty.
Yeah.
I would allow command to work here. Also, her mind has literally been made partially robotic, so explicitness helps here. I'm going to call this a plus 20 command check to get her to kind of try and break from what she's doing to sort of pay more full attention to you in this social situation.
Did plus 20? All right. Hit her with that robo riz. Let's go. All right, that is a 22 out of 60.
All right, 4 XP in command as you're able to sort of get through the fog and get her to focus on you. And she says, yes, the director would be displeased if I did not socialize. You will not steal my research, yes?
The only thing I care about stealing is your heart, madame.
That's me laughing at her. She goes, fine. And she is going to put this thing, and she's going to hide it in a pocket that was very clearly added to the dress after the fact. And it like bulges out on the side and says, what meter would you like to dance in?
The vaults. 3-4 time.
As you wish. And go ahead. I'm going to call this a performance check. She is on the beat. So this is going to be performance plus 20.
Okay, let's go. Can we do this? 37 out of 51.
All right. That is 4 XP in performance. As you are able to, without music, just sort of letting her, I'm going to say that she leads. As you both go through a little waltz. What are the rest of you doing as Sasha, sweet talks is not quite the right word, but sweet talks Elmine into forgetting her research for a moment.
I want to find out why we were invited here. So I suppose I will assist my colleagues in whatever investigations are occurring.
Chardon Van Leth, what do you think you might want to do?
Clocking what is going on the dance floor, which is fantastic. Absolutely delightful. I think Sheridan and still focusing very hard on why is there a tiara here? I want to know about that. I think Sheridan has started kind of wandering around. You said there's a balcony over at least part of this.
Yeah. So it's like this entire ballroom is sort of set over the edge of the cliff, and there's these floor to ceiling windows so you can see all around. And then back up at ground level is the balcony that goes along the column, and it's on both sides of that balcony is the 2 sets of stairwells that go to the dance floor.
Right. Wonderful. On either that top level or the bottom level near where the cliff overhang is are there any adjoining rooms, places that this ballroom looks like it leads to?
Yeah, so there's on that top level, there's one door where you came in, and then there appears to be another door on the other side that looks like it goes back over into the right side of the hallway. It looks like the room and at least this floor of the house was sort of built symmetrically in that way.
Okay, so it looks like just doors back to the hallway and nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. That does make me want to go explore the rest of the house. Where has the butler gone?
He went back in he went back through the door that he entered in and brought you in. So it appears that he's on the left side, and you know that the kitchen is on the left side of the house. Sort of,
wonderful. Yeah. There was kitchen and there was greenhouse, correct?
Yes, there was the greenhouse on the right side. Right? Yep, that you could see from the first floor. Yeah.
Having seen him vanish for a moment, and with it looking specifically like Sasha might have this area covered for the moment, I think Sheridan will try to catch Venlith's eye and motion towards the doors and go, would you like to do a little exploring with me, perchance?
She looks and she goes, I do believe we were on the same wavelength. I kind of want to know what's down that hallway that they won't let me see. And the fact that there's kind of a square with just a ballroom very much intrigues me.
I agree fully.
Yeah.
I will provide a distraction for whoever, because it seems like they're going to explore. I would like to distract butler friend
Oh, yeah, the butler isn't here right now, but the
Oh,
other
okay.
guy who's been trying to sell you on shares of his family company is still here and is more than happy to talk your ear off.
Great. I will start posing philosophical questions about these. Like, if a timeshare falls in the forest and nobody hears it, is it a waste of time?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm going to say to sort of dictate how much of a bonus you're going to give to these two in their stealth check. This is going to be a philosophy check, and this
Great.
is going to be plus 30.
It makes me so
Okay.
happy that there's a skill for this.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely,
I
absolutely.
love it.
Yeah, actually, it's not bad. My bonus is not bad. Okay. I rolled a 57 and my skill is a 41.
And it's
But
a plus
that's
30 check, so you were
plus
rolling to beat a
30.
71. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is 3 XP in philosophy. And if I had a nickel for every time a campaign involved a political uprising of labor, I would have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it is strange to have them twice in this game. Yeah, so you get 3 XP in philosophy. As you sort of get him a little bit off his game because he wasn't expecting to be challenged on his base beliefs while at an upper class party. And that is going to mean a plus 20 bonus to this stealth check as you are trying to sneak into the other part of the house. So this is going to be plus 40. You're getting a plus 20 stealth check for the two of you to try and make it out of the ballroom unnoticed.
Delightful.
Plus 40 for both or 20 for each separately?
Plus 40 for the both of you. So both of you are making a plus 40 stealth check.
Wonderful.
Yes.
We're each making an individual check and then seeing how.
Yep.
Wonderful. That.
From 84.
Sorry?
What was that?
Total was 84. I rolled a 79.
A success is a success. Go ahead and mark down 4 XP in stealth. Sheridan, how about you?
That is a 16 from an 16 to beat an 81.
Oh, that is a lot of successes. Awesome.
Yeah.
4 XP in stealth.
So you turn invisible.
Yeah.
You already couldn't see much of them because they're like almost fully covered. Just fade into the ether.
Yeah. And you find yourselves out that right-hand door and back into this dimly lit hallway. What would you like to do from here?
I think Venlith is going to be like, so I'm going to try to follow my initial plan and just continue down the right side, or actually now straight, and see what's actually at the end of this hallway. And see, if there's a downstairs or an upstairs or any kind of weird rooms off to the side that, you just never know in a house like this. There's just things that I need answering.
Most certainly. I will be joining you if you're not averse to company.
Usually I would be, but in a strange place. Think 1 or 2 more just to have, my 6. You never know what might happen.
Most certainly. I will give you some walking space.
All right. So what you find in this hallway is there's the central sort of trunk of the hallway that you came from, and there are 2 doors here. One leads towards the front of the house, and one leads sort of further in the direction away from the center sort of column of the house.
Like deeper into the house?
Yes.
Venlith wants to go that way.
That's
All
my
right.
that's my instinct.
Yeah, absolutely. So you open up this door. It's a double door, and there's a big like 3-meter wide staircase leading up, and also sort of half lit, sort of half. Every other oil lamp is gone. Would you like to head up?
Can we see? Does it turn before we can see what's at the top at all?
It goes up to a landing, and there's a small window there, and then it goes into another hallway.
I will certainly head up. Is Venlith proceeding a little bit more with caution out of curiosity?
Yeah, she's gonna kind of like walk up like slowly because she's now stepped on 2 freaking creaks in the day. She's not doing well in herself. So she's gonna like tippy toe up the stairs, kind of like suction cup to the side. You know how you shimmy along the side of the walls, and like peek around the side when she gets up to that landing to make sure there's no weird person like walking the hallway kind of deal. So
yeah. So from creeping up to the top of the landing, what you can see is actually fairly open and fairly empty. There's no carpeting here on this level of the house. There's no like tchotchkes or wall hangings or anything like that. It looks cleared out, and the doors that you can see, except for one, are sort of hanging ajar. Not open so much as nobody cared to close them.
Sheridan is going to go and look at the singular one that is closed. And can I tell if it's locked?
I'm gonna say give me a perception check plus 30, and I'm gonna say because you've succeeded so well on that stealth before, give me a plus 10, so there's going to be net plus 40.
Wonderful. That's an 18 against an 81.
Awesome. Go ahead and mark down 3 XP in perception. Also, as we're going through all of these, if your XP ends up matching the rank you have in the skill, you can go ahead and rank it up. So as you're approaching the door, you see that it's one of those interior doors that doesn't have a lock on it. But what you also notice is you hear that there's somebody having a conversation on the other side. On that massive success, you're getting a few words here and there before you feel like you might risk being spotted in some fashion. And you hear, show, how much time do we have? Where are the bags? Buck up. And that's what you get from 2 voices. One sounds sort of mask, one sounds femme. And that's all you're able to get before you feel like you would be taking a risk getting any closer.
Interesting.
So Venlith is going to look at Sheridan at this point and be like, so there's 2 ways we can go about this. Kind of in a hushed tone so that like the people behind the door can't hear us, because I don't know how thin this door is. If we can hear them, I assume that it's not like super, super thick that, but they've got to be fairly talking at a normal voice range to hear through it. And she looks at her and she says, the 2 others are downstairs. Now, we can either go in this showing out of time or showing almost out of time and book up. We could go in and make a performance and a spectacle of it and be like, where is everyone? Why is there's the guests are downstairs? Where are my dancers? Why is there not people here to do what they, where is my performers? Have you all learned your lines? Have you all learned your lessons? Or we could try the stealthily thing and kind of slightly open the door, and risk the shadows and stuff. So, whatever you want to do, I'm for.
an excellent set of options. Do you have any thoughts as to what bags they might be asking for? You think they are performers, yes?
I'm gonna go that route, and hope that I'm not wrong and they're not all here to harm us in any way, and that we've been drawn to some sort of trap. So
It is a reasonable assumption that they may be performers. I follow your train of logic. My thought is that we can return to interrogating them about their performance methods, perhaps after trying to push the door a little more. We can always fall back on deception, but shall we try a little more stealth?
oh, agreed. Yeah, I'm let's shadows are my friend. So
All right. So they are
I approve of that.
they are quite locked in their conversation, and they are quite distracted. They do not have great perception here. So this is, I'm going to call a plus 30 stealth check to sort of inch in. And I'm guessing from what you're talking about, open the door enough that you can kind of get an idea of, get a look at them, basically.
yeah, look in like long-term conversations, like more than a few words, and just so that if needed, we can go back to the group and describe a little more than just 3 words, 3-4 words. We can we can do profiles and clothes and a better general understanding of what they were going to say.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is plus 30 stealth check.
Would you like us both to make it, or just one of us?
Whichever one of you is going to actually try and open the door.
I think you may have slightly better stealth than me, if I heard the last numbers correct. I have 41.
Only by a couple points. I have 44. I rock, paper, scissors for it, or whatever you want to do. Doesn't matter.
I can see this one to you.
All right. You said plus 30?
Plus 30. Go ahead and roll it up.
74 I have to beat.
What's the result there?
17, sorry.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. So that's 3 XP in stealth, and you're able to just unlatch the door, and it just the way that it sits in the door, it just sort of opens a little bit on its own, and you're able to kind of peek around a little bit. And what you see is 2 figures in an otherwise entirely empty bedroom. Like there is an empty spot, darker spot on the wood floor that was not exposed to the sun because a bed was there for a long time. They are standing and talking in an entirely empty bedroom. The woman, the female figure, is dressed older, but dressed in very much her vest. She's got a structured dress from Colsame country in the West that seems like it was vibrant green and very much in fashion like a century ago. She's wearing a lace scarf that had fewer deliberate holes in it a few years ago. And as she's speaking to this other figure, there's this clatter of bangles and bracelets on her forearms that are from all over the place. And she is a Gridarian woman, little bit harpy eagled like. She's got these facial feathers under her eyes that flow into her hair, this loose curls of gray and brown that are sort of set in a little bit of an updo with bits and bobbins woven into them. And she, as a Gridarian person, also still has bird feet, and she's got these brass caps on the ends of her talons that seem to have dulled and have a little bit of patina. And she's speaking very much with her hands, to the male figure also in the room who's carrying a violin. And she's saying, "You agreed with this. You agreed, and you said it would be a wonderful show, a wonderful time. Why are you getting cold talons now?" And sort of in the jangle of bracelets, he says, "You didn't tell me until today what was going to happen. I thought it was just going to happen slowly. I didn't know we were going to be crawling out a window." And he's sort of a little bit older, male, also Gridarian, heavy set, but he's wearing the robes of clergy, specifically the state religion of this country, the Shopes. The big thing for them is creating illusions with music. And he's just sort of a little bit browbeaten is a little bit strong of a word, but he's definitely on a down note here as he's saying, I agreed to it, I don't know, half blotto. I'll go down and I'll put on a show, but I'm going to leave early. Do you understand? She says, fine. But you get ready. And as they're going back and forth about this, what would you like to do?
There's nothing else in the room with them at all?
No, it is entirely empty. It is entirely empty, and in a way that is empty but not clean. There's dust bunnies. There's spots of dirt. It appears just that everything was moved out more so than the place was cleaned out.
Is there? This might be an oddly specific question. Is there anything in particular, the violin, the instrument that he has? Does that look unusual in any way?
I think it's Venlith who's looking at this. It's a good violin, but peeking your eyes in from across the room, you don't spot anything in particular about this. What would you like to do with this information?
Well, I'm going to relay that to my cohort in crime behind me, so that she knows what's going on. But I kind of be like, I still don't know if we still don't know what is happening. We know that something is happening. But what?
Yes. Very interesting. Do we wish to continue looking through the areas of the house we have not yet explored, such as perhaps the greenhouse, and see if there are further answers there? Or would our friends back on the dance floor perhaps be able to make more sense of this information? Do you think?
Was the greenhouse? The greenhouse was on the way back, was it not?
It was on the first floor on the right of the house. And as you are sort of whispering in the hallway here, you hear Bo starting to be drawn across the violin, and you hear him basically warming up and starting to do finger exercises, basically, to prepare for whatever he's going to do.
I'm also wondering if there's anything in the kitchen. I know it smelled like normal tea, but I don't. There's just still so many answers. I don't know.
Let us return and see if we can pass through either the kitchen or the greenhouse before we head back with speed to the ballroom and inform the others. I agree with you. Many answers.
Yes.
All right. So as you sort of dart back down the stairwell, you catch sight of the door to the ballroom closing. as the butler has come back in bearing a tray of, this time, petit fours. For the rest of you, Sasha, you are just finishing your waltz. Lovely, methodical waltz around the ballroom here. Willa, you are debating the finer points of political philosophy with a rather blunt mind, as a little bit of snacks are brought in addition to the tea. And then the butler makes eye contact with you, Sasha, and nods to a bottle that he has under his arm and says, "I'm afraid it is the best we have for the moment." And he pulls out a bottle of wine.
Better than nothing at all, my good man. Sasa will take the bottle and turn toward... What was her name again?
Elmine.
Elmine. I suppose the lady does not imbibe.
You have assumed correctly, although assumptions are not things to be made lightly.
But by making an assumption, I get to have you talk to me more.
I suppose that is correct.
Sasa will take a teacup, like one of the teacups, like just down the tea and then pour herself a glass of wine in the teacup while she's talking.
Yeah, it's not the best wine either, so having the leavings of tea in it really doesn't affect the taste much. Yeah.
What is it you were working on so diligently before our little soiree?
So she looks back and forth a little bit and pulls it out and says, "It came to me in a dream. I think it is some kind of industrial drill. You see, there is this gear and this gear," and she immediately dives into like the technical details and is like, "At some point in the night, 3 nights ago, I installed this gear here, which seems to allow it to be pressed from a height and attached to a lever." And it like immediately, it's not even clear that she's aware she's still speaking to a person so much as like regurgitating her notes about the thing that she half consciously made.
I make an engineering check to follow along the conversation.
Absolutely, you can. Absolutely, you can. I'm going to say that this is an engineering check plus 30.
Heck yeah, let's go. 52 out of 67.
Awesome. 3 XP in engineering. You are able to follow along, and she, at several points, like, skips over pieces of it and parts of it in a sense that you get either the parts of it are missing or she doesn't quite understand what she's made.
Whenever she skips a bit, Sasa will input something of it, like something technical and engineering that could be like, well, perhaps it is a, but did you consider?
Yeah, a gizmo, a womble. Yeah,
like is actively
absolutely
engaging in the conversation on maybe not an equal level, but far from just blindly following.
Yeah, putting in an effort.
Yes.
And she says, "Well, no, not quite. That is a good approximation, a good guess. But no, quite. I'm afraid that I have been stuck for some time, and I think I am still missing a piece." And she looks up at the column and then looks back at you and says, I wonder if I might be able to ask for your help."
I thought you would never ask. How can I be of service, my dear?
Well, there is something I might ask of you later. You have been a wonderful dance partner. I hope you might be a good partner in something else. And as that's going along,
hope to be.
The rest of you are able to explore the house. Willa, is there anything in particular you wanted to do?
I mean, my friends have presumably gone off to find things. So at some point, I would like to reunite with them so I can find out what they found. If they're
Yeah.
planning on coming back this direction.
Sheridan and Venlith, what did you want to do?
Yes, I think we were headed back this direction, but potentially because the kitchen is in close proximity and we just saw the butler re-enter, potentially ducking our heads in there quickly and then making our way back to the ballroom.
Okay. Yeah, so you duck your heads into the kitchen really quickly. What you see is mostly empty kitchen. There's like the stuff to make tea, a couple of sets of like appetizers and stuff like that, and then a bunch of luggage stacked up by the front window of the house.
Bunch of luggage. Can I look at that luggage really quickly? Is that somebody? What's the deal with that?
Yep. So there is. This is going to be. Are you like trying to dig through it, or is this just a perception check? Just soft eyes? What is it?
I think this is soft eyes perception.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and give me a perception check plus 20.
Would this be to deduce or spot hidden? I think that's hidden characters, not hidden items.
Okay. Yeah. This, if you want to do investigation, that would mean like getting a bunch of things to put the pieces together.
Right. Yes. Thank you. Not perception.
Yeah. Okay.
I will do perception with scent, though, if that's all right.
Got it. Perception with scent. Go ahead and give me a plus 20. I don't know that scent's going to apply here, though.
Sure thing. That is nope. That is a 36 to beat a nope. Nope. That is the right way around. That's a 36 to beat a 62.
All right, that is 4 XP in perception, and what you see is this luggage is all stacked up right under the front window, and the sash of that front window is now open. And it's a ground floor window. It's like waist height.
Sheridan looks over at Venlith and in like a mimicry of the voice from upstairs, you didn't tell me I'd have to go through a window. That seems to be the window.
Can I dig a little deeper in this luggage?
Yeah. Go ahead and give me a. This is where it would be investigation. Give me an investigation check plus 20.
52. Let's see.
If I can help in any way, I will aid.
Yeah. I like pointing things out, and I would call that a plus 10 bonus. So this would be plus 30 investigation.
So that would be an 87 for a 62.
Sorry?
62 was my investigation. I got an 87.
Okay, so that's plus 1 XP in investigation. You just find a whole bunch of like really nice clothing that has been nicely packed, and it seems like ready for a journey.
Ready for a journey. They're going somewhere.
Yes.
They didn't come here. They're planning to go somewhere with haste. Meaning that something is probably about to happen. Yes? Do you think that seems right?
With the house being this cleared out and the violinist wanting to leave out a window, yeah, I don't know if this is good.
Perhaps we should return to our companions in the ballroom.
Yeah, agreed. And maybe a little more with haste.
With haste, we return.
Yeah. So you return as the butler is pouring out the or giving the wine over to Sasha, and Yeah, the butler comes over and says, I did not see you on the way in. Are you enjoying the party?
It's simply delightful.
Of course, we just had to use the restroom. Women in their restrooms. There was a long line. Always is.
Yes, I would. The lady would prefer for you to enjoy the ballroom and its view.
Of
And
course,
he,
naturally. Will she be making any appearances so that we may thank her for the beautiful view?
now that all of the guests have arrived, I think she will. And as he says that, you hear some violin music start up from another part of the house. Everybody make a perception check +0 for me. This is a little bit more difficult.
Is this sniffing based
It is
perception?
not. It is not.
It's a straight perception roll.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yep. Is it equal to or less, or do you just have to roll less?
Meets it, beats it.
Okay, I hit it right on the number.
Awesome.
I have a 32. I rolled a 32.
Awesome.
Just barely beat it 40 to beat a 42.
Awesome. So everybody who beat this gets 6 XP in perception, and you see through the illusion that is being created by this music that is creating a sort of set of petals that are flowing on a wind that does not exist in this ballroom, flowing all around the right-hand door to this ballroom. The rest of you who failed get 1 XP in perception, and you just see these flower petals appear out of nowhere and flow around as though they are on a breeze. And then a door opens, and this figure that I described earlier, the Gridarian woman with the bangles who talks with her hands, bursts it open and says, "Ah, my friends, so lovely to have you join us. Thank you, thank you. I know some of you well, some of you not so well. I am the Lady Haywood."
Which
Charmed.
specifically of us would you say that you know well, if you had to specify?
Well, I've known Elmine for years, though not since her recent job. You look lovely, though, darling. You look lovely. And this is the Macron woman. And then she says, young Jorgen over here, I've known his family for years, though they have not come to my parties as of late, and it has been so dreadfully dull without people coming to my parties. I'm so glad that you've been able to join me, though. I do have a little bit of a surprise now that you're all here. And doesn't everybody love surprises?
No.
Statistically,
Well,
I would think that the answer would be a resounding maybe.
Oh, well, I think you might like this surprise. I have decided that I'm getting out of town. It's been a little bit too dull here, a little bit too dreary. I'm looking for a little bit of excitement. And I've decided that whoever can give me the best adventure, money is no object, whoever can give me the best adventure will get the house. Everything in it, and the lovely Haywood tiara, our last little family bauble. And I was wondering who might want to start the bidding.
When you say give you the best adventure,
I'm looking to have the time of my life. I've spent my whole life in this city tending to family business, tending to older, sick relatives, tending to Aunt Gertrude, who just couldn't stop smoking that pipe, despite the fact that she lost her tongue. It's been dreadful, and there's been no excitement for years. I'm just hoping you might be able to give me a little bit of adventure before I knock on.
You want a travel agent, is what you're saying.
Well, a travel agent might be a little bit dull. I'm hoping for a gateway to adventure, a ticket to somewhere new. Oh, just impress me enough, and you'll get the house. At this point, Elmine nudges you, Sasha, and says, "I need the tiara. Please help me get the tiara."
Of course, my lady. Sasa will stand up tall, like a dramatic pose, eyes flashing toward the lady of the house. My lady, if I may be so bold as to offer you a place at my side on the field of battle. Join me in our crusade against the banditry and villainy that has plagued my fair land. Become a hero, such as myself. Truly, there is no greater adventure than that.
Awesome. And she takes a moment. What kind of check would you like this to be?
Command.
I'm leaning towards this being like diplomacy or something like that.
So I will gladly take a penalty on this, but Shasa only speaks in command, so we're rolling with command.
So this is going to net out to be a +10 command check.
Okay.
I'm getting a little bit of a minus here. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Absolutely. So she's not diplomatic. She's just very loud and abrasive.
Awesome.
That's a tactic. It's a great tactic.
Yep. And while this is going on, does anybody want to clock anything else about what's going on? What's happening here?
Can I watch the violinist?
Yeah. Sorry, what did you get on that command check?
I got a 13 out of 50.
Awesome. 3 XP in command. What does everybody else want to do while this is going on?
I think, and Willow's watching the violinist, you said. I think Sheridan is watching this with great delight and trying to see if she's being forthright about this, given the only detail that I know about this lady.
First off, the violinist, after doing the entrance, he didn't even fully come into the room. He just finished the music and then he booked it. And then give me an investigation check +20.
Delightful.
And I'm guessing
deduce lies. Perfect.
Yep.
And plus 25, 35, 40. Math. 7, right. That is a 29 to beat a 77.
All right. That is 4 XP in investigation. You clock a couple of things here. First, she is doing very exaggerated motions here, like an untrained actor sort of thing, like acting to the back of the crowd. But there's nobody here except for the fact that she did her whole entrance and came to the front center of the dance floor where she would has the full surround of the windows around her, 3/4 surround of the windows around her of the dance floor. She isn't lying about the auction so much as she does not care and seems to be ready to be convinced by the first thing on offer. But she is separately occasionally eyeing the column while this is going on.
May I ask a follow-up question?
Yeah, absolutely. On that massive success, yeah.
The windows that she's moved into view of and the big visibility, the big view of the ballroom, do these look two-way in any way or otherwise strange, enchanted, or otherwise?
No, they are not two-way or anything like that. You have very clear views of the neighborhood below and then also even on the sides, the adjoining houses.
Delightful. Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting. Strange and interesting. Strange and interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and she says, "Oh, that sounds like a wonderful offer. I think I've got an old pistol and cutlass somewhere in the family belongings. I hope you won't mind me taking those along with me, would you?"
I'll even refurbish them myself.
Lovely, lovely. Now, I don't know how much use you might have for the house, but you might want to take the tiara with you at least. It's worth a good bit of money.
Certainly, if you're offering it to me, I will gladly accept.
Awesome. And what does everybody else want to do as Sasha takes, I guess, a closer look at the tiara?
Can I do what I can only describe as a vibe check?
Yeah, this would be investigation. This would be a plus 20 investigation. What are you looking for specifically?
I would like something is wrong, and I want to see like in some way there is malevolence involved here, and I want to find out whose it is and how it will manifest.
Yeah, this would be, I'm going to call this a deduce for investigation. I don't know that you have a specific bonus to that, but this would be a deduce investigation. This would be plus 20.
Okay. Yes, I rolled a 22 on a 53. So
Ooh, awesome. That is 4 XP in investigation. She is gesturing in an exaggerated fashion and occasionally looking to the people on the balconies of the neighboring houses that are watching what's going on. She is not playing for any of you here. She is playing it up
this is
to the
for
people
an
watching.
audience.
Yes, that is
Okay.
not in this room.
Point of clarity. As
Yes.
Sasha is approaching the tiara, she'll be like she'll offer I forget her name, the machine lady, Elmine. So like take Elmine's hand if permitted and like guide her toward the tiara as well. So they're like next to each other.
Absolutely.
How are they viewing? It's through like a window, right, with curtains or something that these people.
Yeah, so they are
They got
either
opera glasses, right?
Yeah. There's some people with opera glasses. There's some people who are just watching, but you can see now that there are people like gathered either on smaller balconies that come out of these houses or fully like unashamedly watching from the windows. You are entertainment.
I'm gonna close the curtains and say that the light will reflect so much better if we concentrate it, and I'm gonna close the curtains.
Yeah. So she, her smile falls a little bit as Sasha is going up to the column and says, "My dear, I really prefer to let the light in. We did pay to be above the smog after all."
Perhaps you're unfamiliar with my ethos. It is customary among my people for gift giving to be done more privately. This is, by the way, not part of the culture of the game. I am making this up.
Yes,
I want to clarify for those playing along at home.
Yeah, so I'm going to say that is I'm not even going to necessarily need a check there. It's going to provide a bonus to whatever's going on here. Sasha, Elmine is immediately sort of mechanically like prying apart different strands here to get at the tiara. And you have a moment to sort of figure out the scope of what's going on if you want to.
Sure. What would I have to roll for that?
This would be science or engineering.
Engineering,
I would even
you
allow
say?
a medical check if you would so desire.
Engineering's my thing.
Engineering. All right. This is engineering plus 30.
Can I kind of push the lady closer to it? I want to say, oh, please do show me your favorite parts of the.
I'm going to say at this point, yeah, she resists and pushes back a little bit. But what is the result of that engineering check?
So that is a 7 out of 67.
Awesome. On top of the engineering here. 3 XP in engineering.
But you didn't know Sauce was a nerd. Haha.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to survive with the artificial limb somehow. What you clock here is that it's a little bit of knowledge outside of the normal of engineering, but it immediately comes to mind as you're looking at this closely for the first time. While Elmine is looking at the particulars of getting out the tiara. You've heard of the process of creating pearls, where an artificial irritant is introduced to an oyster and the pearl grows around it. It's hard to say for certain, but you think something very similar is going on with this tiara and this column that she mentioned was an old family heirloom, and it seems to be the only thing of value that has not been removed from the house yet. What would you like to do as you come to this realization?
Can I make a guess? Because I rolled so well. This is going to disrupt the structural integrity of the house.
Yes.
As soon as like all of this clicks together, Sauce's hand just comes out like to body block Elmine, just like my lady. If this is a prize to be offered, should not the offeree be the one to bestow it upon you? Isn't that right? Command check. Looking toward lady.
Yeah. I'm going to say this is a command check plus 20.
Woo!
Beautiful.
All right, that's a 25 out of 60.
Oh, man, rolling so well. That is 4 XP in command. And she stops and says, yes, I suppose. And what would you like to do?
Oh, specifically, so to clarify, the command check was toward Helmsworth?
Oh, Haywood, yes.
Haywood, yeah. So basically, it's an intimidation check on Haywood to get her to get the thing out. Yeah.
She stops and says, you have ruined the show. You've ruined the show. You've ruined the show. Got it. You found me out. How did you find me out?
Wait.
Well, you see, you're not very good at lying is the problem.
I have no idea what is going on.
You were supposed to... I'm never going to hear the end of this from the Luckstones. Fine. You can cut the tiara out and it won't do anything.
I feel like that is not correct.
It's only removing the whole tiara that would do anything. You can just cut it out by the sides, and then it will stay, and the house won't fall. This is so embarrassing. Could you just close the rest of the curtains? I am mortified.
So your plan was to drop a house on top of a bunch of people because it would be fun.
Yes.
I just wanted to clarify.
Gerlach, come. They're not going to do it. They figured it out. Just Gerlach, come here. Come. Just why don't you just leave? I don't have any purpose for you here anymore.
Wouldn't the house fall on you as well?
Well, it wouldn't fall immediately. We had a plan. Or it would. I don't... The excitement is the important part.
So you were willing to bury yourself alive in your house for fun?
Yes, it's dreadfully boring here. I haven't had anything to do since I was born. I did my job by being born.
You maybe need a hobby.
Hobby. Is that like...
You considered crochet or perhaps poetry? Those are only two of the many options.
There's a whole city that needs to be fixed below you.
Oh, but that seems hard. I could just have
Yes,
fun
but very
doing it.
entertaining.
I'm gonna need... This is gonna have to be a philosophy check from somebody to try and get her a little less maudlin here.
Reform her into...
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit more difficult. This is going to be a philosophy check plus 10 to remove some of the calluses on her soul.
My philosophy is not bad.
Oh, where... Mine is actually better than I thought it was, but it's not best.
Yeah, go ahead and roll it up and let's see who does it.
With my engineering knowledge, could I tell that she's being truthful and I can just take the thing out in the correct way?
Oh, yeah, you can tell that the whole round of the tiara, the back half that's in the column is what's causing the irritation that's keeping the house up, basically. So if you just snip to the gold at the edge, then it would be able to be removed.
Is that the only thing that you'll need? Looking towards the machine.
She says, yes, of course. And she even reaches over with her artificial arm and even just pulls the diamonds out of the tiara and then starts fitting them into the parts of the drill that were missing things. Yes, that's perfect. These fit perfectly. And what's the results of some of those philosophy checks?
Real bad.
Also bad.
Was this plus 10, right?
Yes.
24. Mine was a 34. I got a 48.
Everybody who failed it still gets 1 XP on philosophy, as she seems rather set in her ways and frustrated as you are shuttled out of the Haywood house. Not worse for wear, but you also didn't have to escape a falling house, which was her goal the whole time. As there are some rather frustrated partygoers who shuffle out of the nearby houses, shaking their heads and occasionally shaking a fist at you for denying them their rather morbid fun. I think that seems like a good place to stop here. Thank you all very... Sorry, go ahead.
I wanted to do something very stupid.
I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
Basically, where would she just be standing in the ballroom while we're leaving?
No, she would be like ushering you out the door.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, like, I would, like, as people are leaving, like, once it's clear that, like, everybody else is, like, out of the ballroom and on their way out, I would just take, Sasa would just, like, take something just, like, hard that's, like, lying around and then just beam it at the spot where the pillar would be, trying to see if it would disrupt the thing.
I am going to say this is going to be a throwing check plus 10, and this is the success or failure here is going to be the end of the one shot.
All right, so I got a 44, and my throwing is a 44. Nope. I'm off by 1. Damn.
One XP in throwing as you hit the column, but it is not enough to dislodge the thing, and everybody leaves a little bit. But you have averted the plan of the Lady Haywood for some rather morbid fun at your expense. I have been Michael, been glad to run this game. You can find me, find the team behind the game at Aether Crucible on Twitter, X, and other social platforms. Everybody else, where can we all find you?
Hi, my name is Jilly. You can find me at Oh Look It's Jilly, most places on the internet. And in 2 weeks, you can find me right here, same time, same place. We will be continuing season 2 of our Masks game, the Puzzle Project. And I am a reformed villain on trial for a murder I definitely did actually not commit. So that's exciting for me. And other stuff will be on Twitter. So stay tuned.
All right.
Sure.
I am.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I am Terfindil, or T. You can find me at Misadventure TTV on Twitter or Misadventuring 101 here on Twitch.
I am Emma Skinner. You can find me on no socials, but on many stages, and also occasionally playing characters over on channels such as Girls Run These Worlds and Friends Who Roll Dice. That last one next Thursday. We're throwing a dragon birthday party. It will be very fun.
Hello, my name is Winter. I do not have any personal socials, but you can find the international artist collective I am part of called Cybernetic Coven. You can find us on Twitter and Blue Sky at Cyber Coven Art. We'll also are in the process of putting together our first ever major Kickstarter for our project called High Excitement Action Tabletop that we collaborated with a certain Dragon Kobold, a rather prolific writer, to put together a TTRPG. So keep your eyes peeled on our social medias to find out more about it as it develops.
Awesome. And a few more things about Nerds with Dice. Ironsworn the Valley returns next Thursday at 8 p.m. EST. And also check out YouTube for more adventures from Nerds with Dice. If you have a story you wish to tell or a game you wish to showcase, the Creators app is always open and can be found on Twitter and Blue Sky, or you can ask for a link in the Discord. And that's how we signed up. So go ahead and check it out.
Stick around. We are rating Transplanar RPG today.
Nice.
Awesome.